In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this super packed, nutrient dense multi cereal called Tom Brown. So without wasting much of your time, let us get started. The first grain we're going to be using here for our Tom Brown is actually yellow corn. And by the way, if I have not already mentioned that Tom Brown is great for weight gain for both adults and kids. It's a very wonderful cereal that you should incorporate into your meal if you're looking to either add weight or you're even looking to maintain your healthy lifestyle. Now, about the yellow corn, you can use white corn if you want, but one thing you should know when it comes to grain is that the deeper or richer the color of your grain, the higher the nutrient it has. For example, yellow corn has vitamin A, which is great for sight, but the white corn does not have it. So I would rather use yellow corn or use a combination of yellow corn and white corn. The next grain you're going to be needing is soya beans, but if you're allergic to soya beans or you don't like soya beans, you can use black eyed pea beans, which is what we use for moi moi or akara. You can also use honey beans or any kind of beans such as red kidney beans will also work as well. Now, soya beans is very high in protein, fiber, and it also helps with your heart health. So soya beans is something you want to consider, or any kind of beans that is also rich in nutrients such as soya beans. And of course, we're adding whole wheat, because if you know anything about whole wheat, you know that it is very high in fiber, and it also reduces the risk of chronic disease such as type 2 diabetes. And because of the high fiber content, it actually helps to release energy slowly and regulates your blood sugar. And that is why a lot of diabetic patients actually eat whole wheat. So you have to include it because it is super nutritious. We're also going to be adding red guinea corn and some white guinea corn. I had some white guinea corn in the house, that's why I'm adding it, but I'm doing more red guinea corn than white guinea corn. They are both high in protein, minerals. It really helps with your blood sugar regulation and also your heart health. So just make sure that you pick as many stone dirt as you can get out of these grains. And next up here we have brown millet. A lot of people confuse brown millet with guinea corn. They're actually different. Brown millet has higher fiber content than guinea corn, and it has a lot of mineral content. Brown millet was actually the hardest grain here for me to pick out that because it is so tiny. You find a lot of sands and dirt in it. So just take your time and pick out as much as you can. When it gets to washing, you also get the rest out of it. And we're also going to be adding tiger nut. And one of my favorite things about tiger nut is not just because it is high in fiber. I love the fact that it really helps with overall digestive process. So it makes it easy for the body to break down and absorb nutrients. So please do add tiger nut if you're not allergic to it. And also here we have peanut. Now, if you're allergic to peanut, you can skip peanut out of this. But peanuts really has a lot of antioxidants, and it potentially aids in weight management and heart health. So if you're not allergic to peanut, please make sure you add peanut, and you can also add more nuts such as pecan nut, walnut, almond. It will really make your Tom Brown even more richer. To sweeten the Tom Brown, we're going to be adding dates. Dates is actually very high in potassium, and it really helps to build the muscle. Now, if you don't like dates, you can use honey at the end or any other sweetener of choice. We have two more ingredients we're going to be adding to this because they did not need sorting through. That's why you haven't seen them yet. So let's get into washing. Now, to wash your grain, you can decide to pour everything into a bowl and wash it together, but I choose to wash it separately because some of these grain are dirtier than the other, and some of them need more attention and care when washing it than the other. So that's why I decided that I want to wash it separately, and also because I'm going to be drying it separately, and they take different amount of time to dry, and they also take different amount of time to toast when you're toasting it. Now, there is no required amount of time that I'll say you should wash it. I could say you should wash it twice and yours is dirtier than mine, and I could say you should wash it even 5 times. But one thing that I have noticed about washing this grain is that you want to wash it until the water is not just clear, but until the sand and dirt at the bottom of your bone is nothing. Like there is no sand at the bottom of your bowl after washing it. For example, the brown millet was the most difficult for me to wash. The amount of time I spent washing this brown millet is more than 7-8 times. In fact, I lost count of the amount of time because it's so tiny and it has this tiny sand. So I had to wash and wash. Now look at this tiger nut. You say, oh, this water is clear, is clean. But at the bottom of this tiger nut, you would see that there are tiny sand at the bottom of it. So you really want to wash it and like I said, rub it between your palm. Rub this thing between your palm. And if you like, you can use warm water to even wash it if you want. And you can even pre-soak them for like maybe 5-10 minutes so that any dirt would actually settle down. And this is one of the ingredients that we're going to be adding that I've not spoken about, the brown rice. I will speak more about it later. Just wash it thoroughly and then set aside. Next up for the date, I'm using hot water to wash this because dates can be really, really dirty. If you look into the date after removing the pit, sometimes you find some tiny ants in. So you just want to look into it. If you have to break it, you can break it, but make sure that you wash it thoroughly. Now for the soya beans, I know that a lot of people like to wash it and remove the skin. The skin is actually very healthy. So I just scrub it between my palm and then I washed it thoroughly. And guys, it had a lot of stones. So just wash these grains until they are very, very clean. Now after washing, you go ahead and pour all the grains separately on different trays, and we're going to go ahead and dry this up. Now I'm drying it up differently in different trays because they take different time to dry up. If you have a part of your house that is clean and has a lot of sunlight, you can just place it and you would allow it to just dry. Like I said, they dry at different time, or you can just place it into an oven and just let it dry. Now once your grains are very dry, the next thing you're going to go ahead and do is start toasting it. And the first grain we are going ahead to toast is the brown millet. This would toast in less than 5-7 minutes. It will begin to just pop like popcorn sometime. So you just toast it separately and set aside. And like I said, that I decide to just toast this grain separately because it requires different time for you to toast the grain. The soya beans, for example, takes longer time for it to toast than the millet. You're just going to toast it and then pour it onto a flat surface so that it cools down quickly, because you don't want to blend a hot grain. So just toast it. Now white guinea corn was actually easy to toast because you can see when it's toasted the color change there. Well, for ingredients such as millet or the red guinea corn, you have to really look carefully to make sure that it is toasted. Now toasting is not really required, but it is necessary, I would say, for you to toast it, because you're not going to be cooking the cereal. So the blended cereal, when you're cooking it in a pot like a pap, you're not going to be cooking it for a very long time. It will take about 5 minutes. You're not going to cook it for up to 30 minutes. So you want it to be toasted, and it will also release a very lovely nutty flavor. We're also adding brown rice to it, but if you don't have brown rice, you can use white rice as well. It works fine. Now brown rice has a lot of health benefits. It helps in digestion due to its high fiber content. It also helps with the overall health of the heart. So brown rice is a great choice in your Tom Brown cereal. So I went ahead to just toast all my ingredients and then I poured it aside. And here we're also toasting our oats. Oats is actually very, very rich in fiber as well. So just go ahead and then toast your oats and set aside. And once you're done toasting all these beautiful, colorful, nutrient-dense grains that is super nutritious, the next thing for you to do is to pour everything into a bowl, and then you're going to go ahead and mix it up properly to combine. And once you're done mixing it, the next thing for you to do is to blend it. Now to blend it, I'll just pour it into my blender. If you have a very high power blender such as the one I'm using here, you can blend it at home until it is very, very smooth. Otherwise, you can take it to the local market and they would blend it using the commercial blender, and they'll blend it until it is very, very smooth, just like this one right here. Although it is very smooth, I really wanted it to be 100% smooth, not 99%. So I went ahead to pour it into a fine sieve and I began sifting it. And I discovered that it wasn't really, really smooth as much as it looked, because it still had some rough grain, just like this one here. So I poured it back into the blender and blended it until it was fine, smooth. And then I sieved it again and this is the result of what we have. Guys, this smells so good. It tasted really nice, and I promise you that if you try this recipe, you would never make your Thom Browne any other way. Now, in a pot that is not yet on heat, I pour the Thom Browne into it. You can mix this inside a bowl, but I really don't want to wash plate, so now I turn on the heat and I poured hot piping boiling water into it, and you just mix this. You never want to leave your Thom Browne unattended to, and after about 5 minutes it would be thoroughly cooked. I poured it into a bowl, and you can see that it is really looking smooth compared to so many other ones that you'd see. It's actually because it is not properly blended. So I poured it into a bowl. I added some milk. I think I'm the only person in the house that actually added milk. Every other person enjoyed theirs just like that. They said they didn't want milk in theirs, and it actually tastes good with or without the milk. Now, to preserve your Thom Browne, you just pour it into an airtight jar, and that is it. I gave some of them as gift, and people that I gave actually love that. So guys, if you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. Also, please don't forget to like this video, share it with as many people as possible, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.